your website. So you're a global recruiter for Tab to Talent. That's your company, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I founded last year in tech recruiting, and yeah, I help companies and candidates to come together.
So I noticed that you are somewhat focusing on German and Australian markets. Is that right? That's where you're looking to place candidates?
Yeah, exactly. So the candidates are basically from all over the world. I do focus on specific countries like Vietnam, Philippines, India, because there's just still a big workforce and quite yeah, people that are into tech as well. And yeah, my clients are mainly in German because I am German. I grew up there, but I also lived in Australia for a while. So yeah, I have a few customers over there as well, and try to stay up to date with the Australian market.
Without giving away too many details, the last candidate that you placed and where you placed them, just to give us an example.
Yeah, so basically the last is was in Frankfurt. My hometown is close to Frankfurt, so that's a bit my area, and I'm mainly focused on the cloud industry. So it was a cloud engineer.
I have to admit, I use the cloud, but I don't really understand how it works.
Yeah, I mean, the cloud is pretty much everywhere, right? So you have access from all over the world to your data. And the good thing is it's super scalable because the demand, for example, can change quite quickly nowadays. If you make a bigger sales campaign or whatever, then you need just more capacity. So that's why more and more companies moving from on-premise, like they have physical servers in the companies, to yeah, cloud providers like Amazon, Google, or Microsoft Azure, for example. They are the three big players. And yeah, it's a lot about platform engineering, how to set things up and keep it cost efficient. That's another big point. But yeah, there was a big movement to the cloud, and it's still going on.
If someone wanted to go in this direction, that it will be an in-demand sort of sector of tech that will just require
Absolutely.
more and more talent.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you have skill sets with the cloud and some experience, you will find a job easily.
And let's say someone doesn't have experience with the cloud, but they might have experience in other relevant areas where they could cross over to the cloud. Where might those people be? What other sort of closely related areas where it might be a sensible next step towards the cloud, given that it's
Yeah.
an in-demand area?
Yeah, so if you work already as a developer or have some experience in yeah, backend development, for example, you know Python or Java already, that's already a good thing. And from there you can skill up. There are many offers to make some certificates from the big providers like Amazon or Microsoft. Yeah, and many people doing it right now. And then, of course, you need to get into this industry as well. That's a bit tricky in the beginning, but if you keep going, I'm sure you will get a chance.
If you're wanting to go remote, the first one may be the most difficult one to get. And then once you're in that world, it's like, how can people not get a remote job? They seem to be everywhere once you're in there. And I wonder if the cloud might be getting work in the cloud, maybe sounds so funny, doesn't it? Getting work in the cloud may be a little bit similar in that getting the first position there may be the most challenging. And then once someone is in there, things would become easier because you're in that network and you have more knowledge and experience. So
Yeah, I think that two parts. So even you work in this industry, in the cloud industry, as a cloud engineer or cloud architect, the most jobs are actually still on site. They are not remote. Even everything is remote. The companies want to have the workers on site because there's a lot of collaboration and with cybersecurity. So they just prefer to have the people on site. And also, this is the biggest misconception, in my opinion, to make a career change and go remote at the same time, right?
yes.
So make a career change, yeah, work on site for at least 1 or 2 years, yeah, as a company, get experience, get your status, and then you can ask here, I would like to work remote. And then if you are really valuable for the company, they will let you do if they can, right? It always depends on the company. Some companies just can't because there are so many compliance and stuff. Other companies can do. And then they're happy to let work you remotely to keep you. But don't ask for two things in the beginning, right? Oh, hey, I have no experience. I would like to work for you, but also, yeah, I'm not there. I will be in Thailand or whatever, right? That will not work out.
Yes, that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense. I've sort of talked about like a Trojan horse strategy. Not that I really know too much about history, but I know that the Trojan horse kind of went in the back door. A backdoor strategy might be a better phrasing is so one of the companies I work for is a digital marketing company. I was taking my background into digital marketing. We were working in an office for 2 years, and then everyone went remote, and that was partly because of COVID and partly because people were more interested in warmer weather in Asia and a different lifestyle. So that worked out really well because I did want to go remote, but I was happy to be in the office as well, to ask to get a position in a digital marketing company when I didn't really have that background, so I didn't have the leverage with someone who maybe knows me, but the best way to build the trust is to be in front of people, right? For them to actually see how you work. And then once the trust is there, then they're much more likely to let you work from anywhere in the world because you've built up enough evidence that you are someone that can be trusted to work unsupervised. When someone can't see that the actual hours that you're putting in unless they've got a system, but if they trust you, they don't need to see that anymore.
Thanks for mentioning this word, right? You used it 3 times already. It's all about trust nowadays, right? So, and yeah, if you apply somewhere, yeah, the hiring manager and the HR team, yeah, need to trust you with your skill sets and with your mindset and personality, especially if you are away, right? They need just the performance to be cost efficient, right? So the biggest costs in companies are still labor costs. So, and yeah, if you have already experience in a certain field, in as a digital marketer, few years, and you have to prove, right, and you can mention some projects, then it's a way easier for me as a recruiter or as a hiring manager from a company to trust you, right? And yeah, give the responsibility to you, and yeah, let's just work together, right? It's a way easier. And also, of course, if you are face to face to someone, yeah, it's changing definitely, but it's still an advantage to be in front of a person, I guess.
That's human nature, right? When we see someone's face and we get the sense that we can get a much better read on someone when someone's anonymous or from a distance, it's much easier to forget about them, and I think sometimes even dehumanize them. Not intentionally, but we're more likely to care about the actual humans, the warm-blooded humans in our radius, than someone who's just a name and an email that pops up in our email inbox every now and then. And there is a company that I work for remote, a different company, and I'll be stopping in to visit them in Australia on my way through because I understand that the importance of trust, that they've given me a remote job. I already work in that capacity for them, but I know that it makes a big difference if I can at the beginning jump on a Zoom call so they see my face. I'm not just an email to them and not just a sort of faceless person, but even more so if I can actually go and see them face to face for a coffee, then you just help yourself to just you're probably going to get a better treatment overall.
So that's really depends. So we have companies that have a fully remote strategy, right? They don't care about it at all. Yeah, they don't want it actually that you come to the office.
Yes.
But on the other hand, you have companies that are more traditional and yeah, just prefer the personal touch. So it really depends on the companies. But if you're on the job hunt, you should be aware of that these companies, they're hiring fully remote. They have just more applications, so the competition is way higher. So yeah, if you really want to get a job, it's a smart move to look for on-site positions as well, or even focus on them to get a foot in the door, right? And start in this industry and catch up some work experience.
I really agree that it can be of course, the majority of people would like to click their fingers and go remote tomorrow, but it can be a more long-term strategy. I was aware that people were working on their laptops from anywhere in the world in 2016, but it took about 5 years, not to go remote, but to get a remote job that I actually wanted to do, that I enjoyed, that allowed to fit around my lifestyle. Unless someone's highly skilled, as you say, where they've got the leverage because they've got a track record and they've got experience, those sorts of people probably don't even really need to be out looking for a job because people would be looking for them, right? If they've got this really strong track record, and anyone can get to that category over time, might take 5 years, might take 10 years. Some people it might be shorter. That remote work and the skills that contribute to being able to be someone who is considered top talent and then in demand, and then has the kind of in-demand skills and leverage where they can kind of negotiate any package that suits them, including remote work if they want it. These sorts of things don't happen overnight, do they? It can take time.
Nothing really happened overnight, right? So things take time, and yeah, most time it takes even more time that you expect to
Yes.
learn something new, right? I know so many people that started like coding academy, right? And then, oh wow, it's actually not that easy to learn this language, and it takes ages, and then they drop it again, or they have to pick up some work again because they're running out of money. I mean, that's stories I hear almost daily, right?
Yes.
From some people, they're aiming something because they just want to have it. They want to travel and work at the same time, what in my opinion doesn't work at all. If you really have a high demanding job, right? If you do some basic task like yeah, some copy adding or something like that, right? What is really repeating, you can travel at the same time to a certain level. But if you come to a new position and I don't know, it's platform engineering or architecture, forget it, right? It's too crazy in the beginning to manage traveling on the side. It costs too much energy. But yeah, that's how it is. I mean, we're writing the year 2024. We are all becoming a bit more selfish because also mental health issues were skyrocketing the last decade. But on the other hand, inflation is rising as well right now, the last few years, and we should have a view on the big picture. We have the biggest skill shortage in history right now. So our workforce is not matching the requirements from the companies at all, or not at all, but yeah, it's quite a big gap, and somehow we should try to close this gap.
Yes, so there's perhaps a big problem, but also a big opportunity for people who are willing to learn.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's going like this, right? People becoming more and more rich, and on the other hand, people becoming quite poor, right? And they struggle to keep up with daily life and finding housing, or yeah, buying groceries, right? So yeah.
So I want to go back to something you said before, which is, and I have met people in a similar position where they want to go remote, and then they think, oh, so the answer to that would be coding. And so they start studying coding, and that may or may not work out for them. And then it may become, oh, this is actually harder than I thought it was going to be. And perhaps it's not a match for my personality. You probably know a lot more about that than I do, because I did have a look at your emotional intelligence document and some things on your website about how you're looking to match talent with the kind of role that would be most suitable for them in an organization that would be most suitable for them. So you have a lot of knowledge in that area, and sometimes I find some people perhaps don't have that knowledge about themselves. So they actually do need insights from people like you to help think about how someone might assess whether or not they're a good fit for certain roles. So what sort of things are you looking at when you're trying to assess if someone's a good fit for particular types of tech roles or organizations?
Yeah, thanks for this question. It's a big question. There's so many different factors involving. Yeah, right now we see a shift from looking less on the skill sets. We're looking more in the mindset and the attitude that becomes more and more important if we pick candidates nowadays. Yeah, it's a bit a challenge to figure things out like that. There are different ways to do it. I personally, use, for example, human design. It tells a lot about actual personality from a candidate, and asking deeper questions in the interviews, like why you want to do that, right? And if someone is answering me, yeah, I just need a job, right? Because I want to travel, then of course, yeah, you will not get invited to the next round. But if someone can really shows me why she has a passion for something and why she want to do that, then that shows me that this person already discovered themselves, and they know where they wanna heading off, and what their purpose is in life. And that's, yeah, already some good indicators.
When you're looking at candidates, what are some red flags that you might see in people that would make you not pursue the process with them?
I get many applications that just say, oh yeah, um I want more money, or I want to go abroad because I don't like to live in this country anymore. Right? So that's kind of a red flag, right? Because there should be other reasons why you want to get this specific job, right? That's what the companies want to hear. They want to see that the candidate were on their homepage, they were looking up the company values, they were looking up the projects and why they're doing something. That's definitely something what I recommend to every candidate. Make your research and show them why you are a good fit with your with your mindset and your skills to help them. Yeah, how can you help this company to achieve the next milestone?
Well, not 100 companies with vacancies that could fit, but 95 of those companies are a little bit boring to you. It's better to make 5 applications to the 5 ones that might excite you or bring some sort of positive curiosity and interest so that you're actually connecting with them than it is to fire out 100 applications to companies that you don't really care about just because you need money and you need a job. Everyone needs money and needs a job, but I think when we filter for companies that we do feel attracted to or excited about what they're working on, or have respect or admiration for the boss or their mission or the market that they're working with, then we can create the sort of emotions inside of ourselves to be passionate in some ways, or hopefully excited about what the company is trying to achieve. And then in the application or in the interview process, we can translate that emotion over to them. And that's what I think a lot of companies want to see, is people who really genuinely care about what they're doing and feel excited about it and excited about how they might be able to contribute. You can't fake that. It's there or it's not there. So if it's not there, I wouldn't waste my time applying to those roles personally.
Be authentic, and it's kind of a game as well. Yeah, like interviews, recruiters asking specific questions, and they're hoping to get a specific answer. But yeah, that's still how it is, for sure.
And you mentioned, I guess this in a way is in contrast to the red flag, which is that you said that people aren't doing their research enough about the company, and when they're messaging to say they want the position, they're not really connecting with what the positions or the company is specifically about. They're just saying what they need personally. Linking the knowledge and skills and experience with what the company actually needs, and perhaps helping to solve the problem in that specific role. So that would be the red flag when you're not seeing that. And then the green flag is that people have gone above and beyond to actually go deep into the website and deep into the company's mission and values to look for ways that they align and then express that in their application. Is that the green flag for you?
Yeah, good summary. Yeah, definitely. So there are many career advisor out there, right? And some still saying, yeah, polish up your LinkedIn and it's a number game. And you can see that, right? If as a recruiter, if an applicant just is shooting out applications to open positions, right? And they're actually not matching, right? So, and also, as a candidate, you need to know about your own positioning, who you are and what you can and what you can't do. It's also really important to know your boundaries. That's a really a green flag in this case as well. And that's definitely something what you should work on, your positioning and also the approach. Yeah, that's another second thing next to positioning, the approach, how to communicate to recruiters or hiring managers, right? Some are just too pushy, they're sending too many emails in a week, and then okay, wow, this guy is just annoying, right? So that's something what you shouldn't do, right? You should understand how you have to communicate with your recruiters or hiring manager.
What would you say are the top three main problems or issues that you see with people making their either their applications in the earlier stage, whether that's with their written application in a document or their CV or their LinkedIn if they're sharing it? What are the main issues that you're seeing there? Perhaps top three. We don't need to limit it by number. And then the issues that you might see in the interview stage.
I mean, LinkedIn is booming, growing. Everyone is talking about, but I wouldn't hang it too high, this LinkedIn topic. It's important because everyone is pretty much, have a look at your LinkedIn. It should be clean. It should be make sense, right? You should mention what you have done in the past, and you should mention what you want to do as well, and where you are, who you are. And on the other hand, in the interview itself, it's be authentic, make clear what you can say, same as on your LinkedIn, make clear who you are and what you can, what you can't do, and show your passion for the project or for the vision. And if you know there are, for example, it's required to be familiar with this specific technology or this specific, let's say, AWS, right? Then be prepared that there are coming up some questions about it, right? How you use it in daily life, and if it's a while ago that you used this program, look it up again on YouTube, right? What's new? How does it work? Things like that. Be just prepared.
And just for everybody out there, can we confirm what AWS stands for?
Oh yeah, it's just from Amazon, the cloud product. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
It's good to be clear on that, just in case people don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I forgot to mention that. So that's the three big cloud things, like the Google Cloud Platform, AWS from Amazon, and Azure from Microsoft.
Very good. The big boys out there competing in the space.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm a Google girl myself, but that's just for ease across everything. Let's have a little chat about you specifically as a remote worker. So I know that you went remote in 2019, is that right?
Yeah, so I left Germany 2019, and then of course COVID hit. I was in Australia at that point, or I just sneaked into Australia actually 48 hours before the border closed for international travelers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I was quite lucky. Other people, they were just scared and they moved back to their hometown. But I wanted to be in Australia, specifically the West Coast, because yeah, it was a good place to be during the pandemic. And yeah, that's how everything started with my remote career or remote life.
When you were on your way to Australia, what was your intention? For a holiday or to be working there? Actually, I
Um,
remember now, you did some tough jobs in Australia, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I came over with a working holiday visa because
Mm.
that's just the best visa what you can get because you get full working rights. But to extend the visa, you have to do some yeah, specific work. That's how they call it. And I was working on a farm, like driving a tractor for 90 hours or yeah, digging holes on a drill rig in the middle of nowhere with 45 degrees for 12 hours. So yeah, there were some fun parts included.
Character
Um,
building work.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
It was really honest dollar what I earned over
Mhm.
there.
Nice.
Actually, I could step a little bit back. It was maybe 2017 already, or in the end of 16, when first time I was into digital nomading and working remotely, geo arbitrage, and I was just listening different podcasts and yeah, okay, everything what is digital will be the future, right? It was 2016 in the end, and yeah, then I decided, okay, I have to skill up, right? Because my English was bad. Yeah, my digital skills were awful. I mean, I was working in an office, but just basic stuff, right? Like Windows and whatever. And yeah, then I decided, okay, I need to get better. And also, like, my English was really poor. That was probably one of the main reasons why I decided I want to live in an English-speaking country for a while. And yeah, Australia is just a good place to do it. I mean, the English is not the proper British English sometimes, but at least it's yeah, it's a nice country, nice landscape, climate is pretty good. So yeah, that's why I choose Australia.
Well, I'm glad Australia treated you well, even though I'm not Australian. I'm kind of a little bit Australian in that I've spent quite a few years there. So uh, I'm pleased to know that you had a good experience there. And I'd like to talk to you because I think this is an important point, but because English is my first language, I don't really get to personally speak to this. Although I was an English teacher for a long time, you identified improving your English. Was it for largely the motivation for the sake of your career or for personal reasons?
Yes, it was more career-wise, I would say, because I joined a startup in Munich 2017, I think. And
Okay.
that was the first time that really, yeah, when I started there, we were just a small team, just German was our company language. And then we started hiring techies from abroad, like from North Africa, Algeria, Tunisia. And
Wow.
then we decided, okay, we have to swap our company language to English, right? And yeah, my English was just really poor, and I was super, yeah, upset about myself because I'm from the working class in Germany. We have different education systems, and yeah, my English was just crap. Yeah, and that was the first time I really realized how important it is to be better in English, to yeah, in the career on the job. And yeah, after I left the startup, or I yeah, decided, okay, I need to be better with that. And yeah, then this idea with Australia was growing in my mind, and I learned a bit English back home before, but to be more fluent, it's really important to live in an English speaking country for a while, in my opinion.
I think you've come a long way. I know that for the audience there, Manuel and I had to have a little chat about him getting on the interview today, just in case his English wasn't up to scratch. But I think you and I get to say as a former English teacher that I can certify people's English, so it's definitely of a good enough standard to be on an interview. I think your English is great. So far better than
Yeah,
my German.
yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, definitely a long way, still a long way to go. I mean, you will never finish with learning a language, I guess.
People can, from what I've seen, open up a lot more opportunities for themselves in terms of their career, whatever they're looking for, by improving their English. It's probably one of the more valuable languages to focus on, whether it's for the sake of making money. All languages are valuable. I don't want to discredit anyone's language, but if people are looking to, sometimes we look at updating the skills that we need to fulfill the role without thinking about the language that can go alongside with it. And by adding some time and energy and resources to improving, whether it's spoken English, that would be enough to get through the interview, to if you're doing something that's over the phone. But if people are going to have to send emails or maybe fill out reports and documents, then written English may need to become more of a focus. And of course, there are tools to help out with that, where people can perhaps not have perfect English, but a tool could help to get them there. But by improving English, people will open up more opportunities, I would say.
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, AI is rising. Communication becomes even more important in my perspective, because yeah, basic tasks, there will, yeah, just AI can do it in some stages already. And I personally focus really on speaking and listening. And I using AI tools a lot, yeah, for my written English. It's not 100% perfect as well. You have to be careful with that, but it helps me a lot with emails and everything else. So yeah, I personally focus really on speaking and listening if I work on my English.
And which AI tools are you using for that?
Yeah, I have ChatGPT 4,
Okay.
like the paid version. That's what I really recommend to everyone nowadays. And yeah, it's also just crazy how quick things are changing. Just imagine you were on a camping trip or traveling the world for the last 12 months, and now you came back and okay, everyone is using pretty much ChatGPT already, and you don't even know what it is if you were just traveling for a year. But beside of ChatGPT 4, I have an ATS system. So recruiters or companies, they're working with an applicant tracking system. And there are also some AI features included at some of them already to screen CVs and stuff like that. And then, for example, for Zoom calls or video calls, there is a AI tool where it's making a summary in the end of it and write everything down for you.
So I've seen people talking about optimizing perhaps their CVs and applications for the ATS systems so that
Yes.
they make it through, because some applications are getting filtered out right from the start because they're not optimized for that system. Is that sort of how it works? Could you please explain?
Yeah, so there are different ATS systems, not all of them having AI features.
All right.
Some of them have it. And yeah, how a recruiters works, I mean, there's like a job ad or something like that, and recruiters starting to build a long list. Can be 30 applicants, 10, 100, right? Really depends. But if you say so, you have 100, right? It's quite time consuming to go through all of them personally. Some ATS systems, not all of them, give you a percentage about the best match. So you have the job description and you have the CV, and then the AI is reading through the copywriting or the text. And then, of course, it's looking for certain keywords, for example. And then, okay, yeah, candidate A, 88%, candidate B, yeah, 80%, and so on, right? And if you are on number 88, yeah, maybe the recruiter will not go that far. But yeah, that's just one case. It's really high individual, depends on the positions. I mean, companies struggling to find right people, right? They're struggling to get applications at all. I know companies, they're yeah, putting a job out there and they're getting yeah, maybe 2 or 3 applicants. right? Then of course they're looking into that without using AI, right? They're happy to get something.
Really looking at the job description and drilling into it, and then also, like you mentioned before, drilling into the company's website and then using their language back to them. So
Yeah.
not your own synonyms that kind of roundabout mean the same thing. If they've used that language, you repeat it back in as without sounding too repetitive, but making sure that those keywords from not just especially the job description, but also the website get kind of regurgitated back so that you show them that you read the job application properly, so that the ATS system can see that there's a match for the job description that it's programmed for and your application, but also so that the company can see that you're aligned with the company, assuming that what you're saying is actually true, because you're repeating their language back to them and their values and their mission and showing how you are someone who's fit for the company in those ways.
Absolutely, yeah, that's definitely highly highly recommend this strategy, yeah, to rise up your chance to land a job.
Let's start with a positive day. Let's say you woke up tomorrow and it was the best day for you, an amazing day based on the days that you've had so far. A day for you in Tab to Talent. What would a great day look like?
I mean, a good day is definitely if I place a candidate somewhere, right, and make a candidate and a company happy. Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. And also, if this relationship keeps for a while, right, because that's what the companies are looking for, right? Not hiring someone and then the candidate is leaving after a year.
And what about a challenging day?
Every day is kind of challenging, right? So you try to learn new things when the requirements are changing, for example, or if you think you have the right candidate and then the hiring manager says, "Ah, sorry, but I don't like that and that," right? That can be definitely frustrating, but that's part of my job, right? It's up and down every day.
You're a digital nomad at the moment, living in a foreign country. So if you've had a really stressful day, how would you respond to that when you're so far away from home?
For me personally, it's just important to keep my routines, right? To even it's super busy and stressful, just to take time for myself, go to the gym, get a massage. That's what I try to keep, even it's a tough time, yeah.
Sounds good. Yes, they have nice massages over there. If you were looking to get someone to fill your position for you, let's say next week you needed someone just as competent as you are to come in and help out and fill your role, what kind of person would you be looking for? What are the key attributes or skills or the mindset, like you say,
Yeah, so I definitely focus on the
attitude?
mindset, right? If I can see that someone is willing to learn and put a bit effort in it, that's quite valuable. New technologies are popping up every week, right? And you have to learn or have to know to learn new things, right? So there are different types of intelligence, right? Emotional intelligence, we mentioned that already. Adaptive intelligence, right? How to adapt new situations and technologies.
Okay.
I think that's a really, really important thing for the future, because it will not slowing down, right? Technology at least will not slowing down. We have a big change with, or we will get a bigger change with grow, that everything is growing, like the economy, the population, and everything was growing the last decades. That's why this specific type of intelligence is, in my opinion, a really, really valuable skill.
The ability to adapt to change, be resilient. Pivot's a word I hear a lot.
Resilience is another topic, right? Be able to go through tough times and be mental stable. That's another thing. What is really important, I think, especially for younger generations. If you look at the statistics, it's quite alarming.
That's a bit of a hot topic for me, but we'll stay away from that one for today.
Good for another session, yeah.
Yes, I'm pleased to hear you mentioning about people being able to learn and adapt over time with the system out with technology changing at such a fast pace and companies having to adapt to changing markets and unforeseen circumstances, that it makes sense to have people who can think quickly on their feet, who can see a problem and respond to it, who can identify gaps and be able to learn something, whether it's a new technology or find a way to solve a problem, find a suitable tool or solution. And because my background is education, the education system's been talking about this for more than a decade, of the need for people to be lifelong learners, to be embracing micro-learning, to be able to be continuously learning throughout life. And it's something that I really promote. I actually love learning, I always have. And I think the best jobs in the world are mostly available for lifelong learners, for people who continuously learn and are not just prepared to do it. That's actually their personality. That's how they are. That even if they weren't getting paid, they'd be off learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's super necessary in the future, right? To never stop learning. And maybe there's one last advice what I would like to share to some people that are looking for a job. Just don't look for a job or a position. Also look for someone like a team leader where you would like to work with. Because that's something what I really think is also super important, that you have someone next to you where you can look up to and say, wow, this guy has already done these things and I want to go a similar way. And find your mentor maybe on the job in the company.
So what would you suggest, where would you suggest that people would look to try and identify who that person might be, and what kind of questions might they need to ask themselves?
So you can go on LinkedIn, you can click on the company, and then, for example, you can choose the departments like tech department or HR department. And then maybe you can figure out, okay, what would be your team? Yeah, who is maybe the team leader of this type of project? And then you can just look on LinkedIn, and hopefully this guy has a good LinkedIn profile, and you can see what he has done, where he did his master degree and which companies he worked before. And then you have to feel into it, right? Is that something what inspires you? If you have the feeling that this type of person can help you grow as with your career and also as a personality, and then try to get in touch with them and just have an open conversation about also different other stuffs. Yeah, you can ask him, could you give me an example from a previous worker who worked together with you, who made next career step, right? And then you will hear if he is saying, oh yeah, there was like Francie, right? She started working with me 3 years ago, and now she is like the head of whatever at the big company XYZ.
Yes, I like that. So using LinkedIn as a resource to be able to find people that you admire and look at their progress, their career progress. Many of the people on there would have been at it for at least minimum 5 years, but sometimes it's 10, 20, 30 years people have been working to progress to the position, to the kind of position that they're in, where you would perhaps choose them as someone who you admire. Yeah, tapping into them as for their knowledge, to be able to share insights and hopefully help people to fast track their way, because we're maybe spoiled for choice with the generation that we're in now. There's never been more choice in the world of what we could do or which pathway we could take than we have right now. You're sourcing talent around the world. That, you know, it's gone are the days where we live and grow and potentially die in the same location we were born. That we have a whole world where we could go to, all these different countries, and then all these markets and job choices. So I find for some people, actually being able to find a pathway that suits, and amongst such a world of choice, having a more senior person who you admire can be an invaluable asset or resource to help like a lighthouse guiding people through, because it's the level of choice is really probably overwhelming for a lot of people. Trial and error is all part of the process, but if we can shorten that process of trial and error a little bit, I think that may help.
Definitely, yeah. There are some mistakes you have to do by yourself, and there are quite a few you could avoid.
Yes, nice. Well, hey, Manuel, I feel like we had all these questions that I didn't quite get a chance to get to, but I do think at the same time we were able to tap into at least sort of first stage of getting some really valuable insights from you as a tech recruiter and someone who works in that space and understands what companies are looking for. And I really appreciate you for sharing your knowledge and insights with us and taking the time today. So if people wanted to connect with you or perhaps follow Tab to Talent or gain some more insights, maybe understand a little bit more about the talent that you're looking for, what would you suggest that they do? Where would they go?
I mean, thanks for inviting me again and give me the chance to share some insights. And if there are any other questions from your community, just reach out on LinkedIn. I think that's the most common way nowadays. Drop me a message, and I'm always happy to give a short answer and maybe guide someone or point someone in the right direction.